Each and every one of us has an unlimited inner wellspring of spiritual power. You have the ability to transform, create, and heal anything upon which you set your heart and mind. Join me, Sarah Hall, as we learn how to uplift all aspects of your life through spiritual empowerment. Enjoy weekly guided meditations, spiritual discussions on a multitude of topics, and a chance to call in to receive channeled messages from the angels on your spiritual journey. I'm Sarah Hall, and this is Through the Eyes of the Angels.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. Thank you so much for joining me. Today I'm going to be sharing angel messages on a very important part of the spiritual path that all of us universally experience: healing. Healing is essentially what a human lifetime beckons all of us to do. Every experience we have is an invitation to heal. I recently shared a video of channeled angel messages on my YouTube channel entitled The Spiritual Meaning of Illness. And I learned from the angels in channeling those messages that all healing is essentially a process of unification. Whether you're healing at the level of the body, the mind, or the spirit, healing is a process through which we unify all aspects of ourselves. That unification of the self then leads us to experience or realize our unification with all, with others, with the world, and with the divine. Healing is a process through which we are consciously realizing and then aligning with the experience that all is one. So, with that in mind, let's go back to the idea of a human lifetime. Throughout our lives, we experience various forms of the illusion of separation. We are often perceiving the world through the lens of the ego, which is a consciousness of seeming separation that assumes I am separate from others. I am separate from the earth. I am separate from the cosmos. I may live in relation to those things in some way, but ego generally sees itself as its own separate entity. This mindset of separation is like looking at life through a kaleidoscope. Everything appears in many fractured parts. And though the illusion we see through the kaleidoscope may be quite dazzling, it's not a true representation of reality. As soon as you put the kaleidoscope down, everything before you holds a different form, doesn't it? The soul is constantly responding to the fractured nature of the ego's state of perception and state of being throughout our whole lives. You see, the soul is the part of you that cannot be tricked by illusions. It is the part of you that holds you in perfect oneness with the divine harmony and unity of all. This part of you is always summoning you back into full awareness, full realization of the truth of your oneness with all. It is the part of you that is forever seeking to heal and rescue you from suffering. The mind of ego is capable of manifesting really only one thing: suffering. Because the mind of separation is essentially a perspective of fear, and fear is really only capable of begetting more fear. When fear is leading the way in our consciousness, whether individually or at a collective level, it manifests a fracturing of consciousness. And I see this all the time in my healing work. And the angels have helped me to understand it like this. When we experience something that triggers fear, our consciousness resists it. You see, fear is against our true, original spiritual nature. It is something foreign to us that the mind usually rejects in some way, the same way that maybe an immune system might identify and resist a foreign pathogen. When faced with fear, the mind often breaks or fractures off the piece of itself that is experiencing the fear. It then pushes that dissociated piece of self down into the recesses of the shadow. It files it away in a dark drawer of the unconscious mind where we seemingly won't have access to it. We won't be able to address it. This is self-defense. There's a line in the Course in Miracles that says, "If I defend myself, I am attacked." Interesting, isn't it? Similarly, in the Bible, there is a teaching that states, if you are attacked, you should turn the other cheek. Or the Buddha taught that in response to attack, you should abandon any desires and utter no evil words. All of these teachings lead back to the same truth. Self-defense is self-attack because self-defense is essentially a fracturing of the self. Self-defense builds up a wall around the piece of the self that is suffering, and it defends our attachment to that suffering. Ego is the only thing that defends because, well, the divine part of us, the divine created us eternally safe, whole, and in no need of defenses. Ego is only capable of defending the continuation of itself, the perception of fracturing, separation, and fear. So, when someone says a cruel word to you and you want to argue the matter or say a cruel word back so that they understand how they've made you feel, this is all ego creating more and more ego, more fear, more fracturing, more separation within the consciousness of everyone involved. Self-defense, you see, is based on attachment to suffering, whereas healthy boundaries are based in non-attachment. There's a difference between the two. The spiritual teachings that promote releasing self-defense are about keeping your consciousness clear of ego-based attachments and helping you to realize your unity with the divine, a unity that naturally provides infinite and constant safety, wholeness, and well-being, and again, needs no defense. Healthy boundaries based in a practice of non-attachment to ego can expand that consciousness of wholeness and well-being in your life. So it is supportive of our healing to practice healthy boundaries based in the consciousness of love and non-attachment to suffering and ego. All healing that occurs at the level of the mind or the heart is essentially a journey in finding those scattered, seemingly wounded pieces of the self that the ego is defending and reforge them as one. The goal of all mental, emotional healing is a reunification of the self. This is what many refer to as shadow work, or another name for it is soul retrieval in the shamanic tradition. It is essentially the act of diving deep into your shadow, into the unconscious aspect of your ego, in other words, and gathering up the pieces of you that fractured as a result of fear, as a result of some experience that you did not quite know how to accept. We then face these pieces of ourselves and forgive and accept the painful experiences so that we may reintegrate these pieces of self and stand in full possession of our innate inner power and harmony with all that is. Healing of the self is a facing of these scattered pieces of self and reintegrating them. And healing of the collective is a facing of each other and all of the pain that we see there, and forgiving and accepting and reintegrating that too. so that we all may exist as one. And what was once broken, but is then reforged anew, that is the strongest and toughest stuff in the universe. That is consciousness that cannot so easily be broken again. And on this human journey that we're all on, we are gradually, collectively learning that there is nothing to fear. And so the soul guides us to stand before every illusion of fear and see straight through it. It invites us to embody our original divine nature of love, so holy that that love surrounds fear and swallows it up, transforming it into love again. This is the healing path. All healing, whether again it's a healing of the self or the ultimate healing of the collective, is an awakening into greater unity. And unification is always something that serves us, because it always puts us in touch with the truth. And to see the truth of reality is to see God and find out that God is you and me and everything. Realizing our unity at all levels, physically, interpersonally, spiritually, is the destiny of our species. Which is why, again, healing is one of the highest and most universal intentions of every human soul. We all face and experience healing. And there is a name for this universal soul-based intention to heal. The name is an ancient archetype, which is known as the journey of the wounded healer. This archetype shows up in stories, teachings, and traditions across time and many cultures. And it's essentially the concept that the one who is wounded is the one who is called to heal. Because the wisdom of how to heal lies within. The journey of the wounded healer is essentially the journey of all human lives. We are all one, so where there is woundedness in one human being, it's in every human being. And our lives are journeys of healing that, because our lives are a gesture in the collective awakening to full realization and embodiment of our true unity. Unity with the all is a state of perfect health and well-being, because a unified state reflects the perfect harmony inherent in all things. The harmony of all leaves absolutely nothing out. It sees, knows, and nurtures all that exists, and it holds everything in its own perfect, harmonious placement. And the intelligence of that divine harmony is encoded within you at every single level of your being. Which is why the one who heals is the one who is wounded, because the wisdom of healing is within. And the healing path is a process that actually allows you to access an awakened discovery of that intelligence, of that divine harmony. At the level of your physical body, that harmony is encoded in your DNA. It is the intelligent force of life that makes your heart beat, that makes you draw breath, and that stores all the information on how to live in harmony with the earth that you could ever need within you. The healing path helps us to tap into that. Because every time the body is ill or injured, we tap into those resources, into that inner knowledge, and we let it work its magic. We experience it, we see it live right there in the moment. At the level of your mind, all of your consciousness is born of and encoded with the knowledge of love. And love is a divine substance. It is a force that unites us with all of creation. Love is the artist of the universe, and it never truly forgets that. When you meditate, you may begin to notice that there is a vast plane of space between your thought forms. This space is inhabited by that mysterious, wordless, infinite force that we call love. And so, love is literally bathing every thought you have. And you have the power to choose to give that your focus, to unite with it, and to let it blossom within you as the leader of your conscious experiences. And at the level of your soul, well, remember, the soul cannot be fooled. The soul knows that you are not separate. It is holding you in eternal oneness with the truth now and always. It's the keeper of the presence of God within you. We all have the power to harmonize with the divine well-being and order of the universe. All of us do. And even when our mind is running rampant with ego, we're actually still held and protected and loved within that harmony and well-being. Because divine love is a force that cannot possibly abandon us. It is alive and awake and present in and around us all the time. And we always have the choice to align our awareness with it. And the more we practice doing so, the more that this healed, whole, and well state of being can manifest everywhere we look. Now, I wanted to share some angel messages on how to support yourself through healing. Oftentimes, we are thrust into situations that require healing that we seemingly didn't choose. Maybe we've become ill or injured or emotionally dysfunctional, and the pain of this leaves us yearning to feel well again. Well, according to the angels, what can often happen in response to the pain of being ill or injured or off balance is that we resist. We resist the pain, get frustrated or angry at our situation, maybe feel guilty or form a victim identity or wallow in that unhealed state. According to the angels, the most effective response to any experience that requires healing is allowing. In order to heal, rather than resisting, denying, or pushing away the fact that we are in need of healing, it is most helpful to accept the situation, to accept what's going on, even if it looks traumatic. To accept is to transcend fear in one of its go-to forms, resistance. If you can accept your state, you can begin to relax and expand rather than contract or pinch off your awareness of what is happening. The more you expand your awareness of what's happening, the more knowledgeable you become regarding exactly what is going on and why at each level of your being. You're then at a higher vantage point for applying fearlessness, love, acceptance, forgiveness, all of which are healing, unifying forces. Allowing enables healing because you don't need to reinvent the wheel in order to heal. You don't have to figure it all out yourself. So let's say, for example, when your skin is cut, you don't have to tell your skin cells what to do in order to form a scab. The skin knows how to heal itself. It was programmed that way. The divine intelligence of life and its forces flow through you and through all things always. And so to enter a state of allowing is really to enter a state in which you're letting those divine, intelligent, healing forces that reflect perfect harmony, wholeness, and well-being always to simply flow through you and do what needs to be done. Just allow it. Allow your healing by simply focusing on surrendering into a state of love. And then in every healing action step you're being required to take, Perhaps it's journaling or meditating about an imbalanced feeling. Perhaps it's going to the doctors to get stitches for the cut. Perhaps it's having a conversation of forgiveness with that person you're in a relationship with. In every healing action step on the journey, you'll be given a unique and perfect opportunity for you, for your situation, to help you to realize God by surrendering uniquely to love in that moment and allowing love's will and intelligence and goodness to be done and to teach you through that experience. That is the healing path. And it is the greatest achievement of human life. Healing is the great definer of our collective awakening. It is the signpost of our growth. So I think it would be wonderful to come together for a healing meditation with the angels now. Go ahead and take a moment to get yourself comfortable, closing your eyes and allowing your body to relax. And then begin by taking in a long and deep, healing, centering breath. Notice as you breathe deeply how easy it is to allow the forces of your life to simply flow. Notice and allow the beating of your heart as it resonates messages of perfect allowing and receptivity throughout your being. Every cell of your body now opening and allowing the forces of life to flow. A beautiful and soft emerald green healing light begins to form all around you. And as you gaze into the emerald light, you can see Archangel Raphael, the healing angel, standing before you. Archangel Raphael is channeling this emerald green light into your mind, your body, and your spirit now. Breathe this light in. Feel every particle of your being absorbing this emerald light like a sponge. The emerald light moves from one cell of your physical body to the next. It fills each thought and feeling, flowing from one particle of thought to the next, until all of you is now bathed in a unifying emerald green glow of light. Breathe deeply and allow the will and intelligence of this light to be done. It's so easy to merge with harmony. At every level of your being, you can feel how easy it is to allow the flow of harmony, unhindered, to flow, to envelop you, and to become you. With your next deep healing breath, allow yourself to see and feel as the emerald light now spreads outside of your body and into all the aspects of your everyday life. Feel as the light fills every relationship, place, activity, and effort in your life with emerald green light. Observe and feel as everything falls into place. Everything shifts into perfect harmony with everything else. Allow this to be reflected everywhere. Breathe and rest as you observe this, noticing any messages or insights that arise for you here. The healing path is an awakening into the truth, and you have full access to the truth now. Feel free to ask this energy of truth any questions you may have. Listen for the answer. With your next deep, healing breath, gather in that beautiful green light. And then with the next exhale, notice as that green light flows out even further, filling everyone connected to you, every soul connected to this meditation now, and all the people connected to them. Allow the light to spread until it envelops the whole world. Notice how good this feels, how right, how healthy, how peaceful. This is your original nature. Archangel Raphael now guides you to anchor this awareness into your everyday consciousness by taking in a nice deep healing breath and affirming the following with your inner spiritual voice. All is well. All is whole. All is peace. I am one with perfect health, harmony, and well-being now and always. And I allow this truth to reflect in all that I see and experience. And so it is. With your next deep healing breath, bring your awareness back to your physical body. Feel all of your presence returning to the here and now. Awareness moving into your skin, your fingers, your toes. Taking in another deep breath, gather in all of your presence. And then with your exhale, send all of that presence and awareness into the here and now. Gently open your eyes and allow yourself to shift back. Archangel Raphael communicates that he will remain with you. Thank you so much for your healing work. We really are all healers together, and when we team up, I think wonderful things happen. So now is our time to take your calls, texts, and chat requests for angel readings. I can see that there are several of you already signed up for readings, but if you haven't submitted a request and would like to, you can either call or text the Bring Me to Life team at 240-979-6366. Again, it's 240-979-6366. Or, of course, join the chat at bringmetolife.com and submit your reading request. Today, I am going to be working with the Sacred Travelers Oracle by Denise Lynn. Let's go to our first reading. Okay, so we have a reading request from Lori. Lori says, are there messages of the lessons we need to learn during this experience? Will people in general change or go back to life as it was? Beautiful. Thank you for this question, Lori. Let's actually just tune right into Archangel Michael for this question. I have been connecting with Archangel Michael quite a bit regarding the lessons and we'll say maybe the spiritual aspect of what's going on with the global pandemic, the situation we're all in. And this is an invitation, yes, to heal and to change, to transform, not to necessarily go back completely to life as it was before. Sure, we may see that happening, that, there may be people that certainly try their very best to go back to life the way they once knew it, back into the comfort zone. But the thing is that an experience like this one blasts open that comfort zone, doesn't it? It expands it out in a very, very big way, and it actually accelerates changes. And this is actually true if you look at history. Anytime there's a major thing that happens, whether it's a war or a natural disaster or a epidemic or something else like this, these events usually speed up the changes that have already been kind of circulating around in collective awareness in our consciousness already. So there's a strong likelihood that, yes, absolutely, that there is a big opportunity for change. At the very least, we're already seeing it in terms of a change in our perception and the way that we see. One of the major things that this global pandemic is doing is it's showing us in actually a very tangible physical way how united we really are at the physical level. We can see that we are really, really a global community, that something that goes on in one part of the world really does affect everyone else in all other parts of the world. And that's actually a really, really important piece of the puzzle in terms of a spiritual kind of awakening. So that's part of the big lesson in all of this. And thank you so much, Lori, for your question. That really is such an important, relevant question that I think has an effect on all of us. So I think one of the best things that we can all continue to do through this collective experience we're sharing in is to pray and hold space and focus upon unification. Just to really hold space around the awareness of how unified we are. Because that brings knowledge and truth and availability for healing, not only to ourselves and our own lives, of course, but everywhere. We hold space for our brothers and sisters when we practice in this way. Let's go to another question. Okay, we have a question from Jordan. Jordan says, ever since the full moon, the question of how to manage my emotions has been weighing heavily on me. How can I stay calm in tense situations, especially in public, and avoid dragging other people down with my negative emotions, yet not feel like I'm masking my authentic self? How can I achieve healthy self-control, yet not bottle myself up? That's a balance I've never managed to achieve so far. What do the angels have to say? Thank you so much for your question, Jordan. I think that this is so incredibly relevant, and I have this really strong instinct that there are a lot of people listening right now who actually need to hear the angels' guidance on this particular question. So once again, I'm seeing, Archangel Michael coming forward. I also see Archangel Raphael here. And beautifully, Archangel Raguel. Archangel Raguel is maybe not quite so known. I don't talk about this angel quite as much as I do the other ones. Archangel Raguel is the angel of harmony, and teaches us how to live in harmony with ourselves and with others. So from this team of angels that I'm seeing around you right now, Jordan, they're giving us a piece of guidance. They want you to know that the key to creating this kind of balance with your emotions actually begins within you. It begins within your relationship with yourself. And once we find a kind of harmony there, you'll be able to apply that same sense of peace, well-being, harmony, or well-managed emotional states in public as well, or in relationships, or when you're connected to, experiences that feel a little bit more intense. I can tell definitely when I tune into you that you are absolutely an empath. You've got high spiritual sensitivity. And for someone who is highly spiritually sensitive, but also this experience applies to really all of us. When we sense the outer world, we can have strong, emotional reactions. The emotions that we have are not, bad or wrong or anything. They're neutral. Don't ever judge an emotional state of being that comes through you. None of them are either positive or negative. They're all neutral tools or neutral, almost like chemistry reactions to what we are experiencing. And all of them, all emotions actually have the ability to catapult us back into truth, back into realization of God, back into peace. All of them are an invitation, to realize that or to do that a little bit more. So how do you go about doing that? What the angels want you to know is that it starts with practicing non-attachment for you. They're showing us that when there are situations that might trigger high feelings of sensitivity or difficulty and that kind of thing, the great practice that really just gives you the keys to the kingdom, gives you incredible power, is to practice non-attachment. So anytime you notice anything, just practice non-attachment to it. So for a sensitive person like yourself, let's bring in an example. Let's say you're in a public space where it's really crowded, maybe really noisy, and you're feeling not only the intensity of that physical sensory stimulation of the noise and that kind of thing, but also you're feeling the energetic sensory stimulation of other people's emotions, we'll say. So everything feels noisy. There's many different dimensions or levels across which you're feeling the echoing of this this noisiness. They're saying just to take a few deep breaths. Breath actually helps at many levels. First of all, it resets any stress responses at the physical level of your body. It also helps your thoughts to pause, going down any runaway train track towards disaster or towards feeling more uncomfortable. And at the spiritual level, a deep breath helps you to pull in the presence of the angels, to presence of love, presence of God, and gives you access to it. And allows that energy to just start to renegotiate the way that things are going. So start with that deep breath and holding an intention to get quiet and get calm. So you're just creating space around what you are feeling, not stuffing down any negative emotions or thoughts or feelings, just holding space, breathing around them, noticing them, observing them, yet not necessarily allowing yourself to become them. Noticing as well that there is a difference between the essence of who you are and the emotions themselves. You see, this will take you into some really, really wonderful healing, according to the angels, because when we practice non-attachment, we start to discover who we really are. Throughout our lives, no matter what degree of sensitivity we have, when we react to things out in the world, we oftentimes are forming attachments, and we can think of ourselves almost like we're a big old magnet, and that now we've magnetically attached to all of these things. Maybe there's a ton of little objects stuck to you all around you. And we start to get fooled into thinking that all the things attached to us are our identity. And those attachments actually can start to feel really uncomfortable. It can be uncomfortable to drag around all of these different kinds of heavy objects. And there can be also a temptation to defend those heavy objects as if they are part of ourselves, but they're heavy and hard to carry. As you practice non-attachment, you start to peel away the layers of the false self, peel away the layers of the ego, and instead see who you truly are deep down at your core. Your authentic self is really a part of you that is eternal. It is not your name. It is not your story. It's not your emotions. It's not the clothes that you're wearing, not your job, not any of that stuff. It's something infinite, eternal. And when you live from that authentic self, that eternal authentic self, the unchangeable self, and just observe what comes through, the normal human reactions and feelings and emotions, without necessarily attaching to them, you'll start to notice that everything feels very, very differently. There's no need to bottle anything up if you're not attached to it. If you're not holding on to anything, you don't have to work hard to push down any particular thought or feeling or whatever it might be. You just are. You just allow it to flow around you. And that will create a beautiful sense of balance because, according to the angels, the authentic self, that part that you find when you practice non-attachment, it's always in harmony. So it's always unconditionally at peace, even in the noisy situation out in public where you're picking up on all the things. It can see, accept, observe, and release all of those things. It can allow all of those things. The angels are adding one other little thought to this for you. They're saying if there's a particularly challenging moment, just get in a little bit of a conversation with yourself, where you might start to invite yourself to think, hey, it's safe for me to make peace with this. It's okay and actually good for me to accept what it is that I'm seeing and feeling. So if I'm angry or uncomfortable about something going on, that's okay. I allow it and I accept it. I let myself feel it. And then I allow the mist or the smoke of that feeling to dissipate and show me what's behind it. Try that. See where that starts to take you and practice it every day. That's a very, very powerful practice. Thank you. Okay, let's go to another question. Okay, we have a question in from Sarah. Sarah says, how do you meet and work through resistance to stepping back out into the world as a healer? How do you speak from and share your true heart-filled voice and teachings while still working through your own healing process? Oh, I love this question. So appropriate given our current topic of the day as well. I love this. So let's start, Sarah, by tuning into your energy, which I can see right away. You're definitely got the energy of a healer there, and you're a very highly sensitive healer at that. The angels are also showing us that part of what draws you to healing is that you've practiced it across many dimensions of self, perhaps in previous lifetimes. It's written in your heart. You've got this beautiful ability within you. So it's very, very common among healers. Almost, I think probably it's a rite of passage for all of us that there's going to at least be one moment on our path, if not more than one, in which we have to work through a resistance to being in the world as a healer, to playing this role of being healer. Because resistance is something that we sort of universally face when the ego, which all of us have, which all of us experience, notices that the healing path is something that's going to threaten it. You see, healing is something that takes away the ego's real estate. We have to, when we are healers, we have to actually do a lot of work on ourselves as well. We're in a constant state of really powerfully disciplining or clearing back or detaching from the presence of ego. Because, of course, as a healer, you want to be an open vessel for allowing healing energy to move through you. So the more room that you have, in your inner vessel, the better. And that means clearing out any ego or any of its attachments. That's what that healing energy naturally does. And even if you've got things that you're working on healing yourself, even if you feel cluttered up to the brim with issues in your own life, oh gosh, you're still a healer, and you still have the power to heal other people amazingly as well. It's just that when that healing energy moves through you, or that healing work moves through you, you'll feel the pressure and the catalyzing that it puts on all of the things within you that need to be healed. So of course the ego is going to resist that. That's very, very normal, very, very natural. And it's not a problem if you notice the resistance. That's not any kind of failure. You're in great company. Again, every single healer has dealt with that. It's about the response to that feeling of resistance that can define what kinds of wonderful things you'll achieve in your personal healing and healing for others. So the angels are giving us this particular word. They're saying humility, be humble in the force of resistance. Humbly face it and tell it, I am a healer. And it might come up with all kinds of different arguments against that, or reasons why it's too uncomfortable or difficult, or why you don't want to. But just so long as you find that little quiet, humble inner voice once again, breathe into it and think, and yet I am a healer. Yes, I'm a healer. I am a healer. Continue to persist with that and see where it takes you, because the longer that you continue to hold that intention, that you continue to practice aligning with the truth of this function of you as a healer, the more that truth or that energy, that intention will be able to expand itself through you. It works like a prayer. In other words, a prayer is something that sort of makes a bridge into the presence of the divine, and then the presence of the divine crosses over that bridge, and it starts to do things within you and through you and in your life. So hold that intention repeatedly, no matter the resistance. And that practice in and of itself is likely going to catalyze wonderful interpersonal healing for you. Now, here's another little piece of guidance that I've actually received from the angels on more than one occasion for people who are drawn to the healing path. They want us to know that no healer, no human healer is expected to be perfect, 100% healed, and then you can go and heal other people. No. Nobody would ever heal anybody if that were the case. We're all wounded healers. We're all working on our own things. And we never stop being human. So there isn't a point in which, life stops being life, and we stop having and meeting maybe, life's normal ups and downs. Even the most enlightened masters, even Jesus Christ, still had problems and things, that were presented to be, healed, challenges that are presented to be healed. So the key is not to wait or procrastinate or worry that you're unworthy, until you've healed to start healing. It is to just start practicing it now. Go ahead and start practicing healing now while you're working on your own things, because it's likely that what is going to happen is this. The universe is going to connect you with people who are at the same or similar kind of vibrational level as you are, in that they are people who can benefit so well from the exact vibrations, the exact lessons, the exact experiences that you yourself are learning on your personal path. Who's better at helping you up the mountain? The person who's one step ahead and turns around and helps you up, or the person who's already at the top of the mountain? The person at the top of the mountain can't reach you. It's a person who's right in front of you who has the closest access to you. So I've noticed this as a healer in my own life, and I've talked to many, many, many other healers who experience the same thing. But magically, what will happen is that you will attract people who are working on similar things as you are. And you'll be able to say, oh, I just got done working on this, or I just received a message on this that applies to my own life. So perfect. I'm going to turn around and I'm going to hand this energy or this wisdom or this love or nurturing to the person that I'm seeing. And this is a humble path. The angels are saying they love that word today for this question. Humble. This is a humble path, because it says, I'm here to serve. I'm always here to serve. How may I serve? How may I serve? How may I serve? And in serving, you also receive. In giving, you receive, of course. That is the old adage, the old wise words. So in giving your healing, you'll receive it for yourself at the same time, and it's a collective healing. And anytime we experience healing in a group, oh boy, does it ever magnify the power of the healing too. So go out there and heal. You're ready. You're absolutely ready right now. And don't worry, the divine will never send you anything that you're not ready for. You'll probably attract just what you need on your healing practice, in the right timing, in the perfect timing. Have courage, my dear. Okay, let's go now to the next question. Okay, so we have a question from Joke Maurice. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. I have been experiencing insomnia for the past 9 years, and it has been affecting my daily life at school, with friends, family, and even relationships. Can I get some guidance? Okay, let's go ahead and pull a couple of cards for you, my dear. And I'm also tuning in. Okay, you've got Archangel Raphael really close to you. I'm seeing Raphael and Uriel really close. Okay, so there's a reason for this. Archangel Uriel is coming forward, and he's showing us what feels like energy patterns within your mind. He's showing us that sometimes there are, it's almost like subtle subconscious thoughts, that your mind is still working on, that don't really allow you to fully let go into rest and deep sleep, as if it's like, okay, I've got attachments to these thoughts or these things that my mind is working on or trying to maybe control or fix or do. And so it's tough to sleep, because sleep is the opposite of controlling, right? It's a surrender. It's a surrender into just that, being in a state of just letting life's forces be done perfectly through you. So insomnia is actually an incredible spiritual lesson. It's an incredibly powerful healing path that you've attracted, my dear. The angels are inviting you to start with just a very, very simple practice in this at the level of, your mind, your consciousness. Practice becoming aware of any areas in your life and your thoughts and your perceptions where there seems to be over control, where there seems to be the energy of control, and it's maybe throwing things off balance. They want you to practice instead trust. They show oftentimes that insomnia can go hand in hand with the emotional experience of having lost trust in the way that life flows, or maybe even in a relationship or in something else that you've experienced in life. You can trust that you are safe, dearest one, the angels say. And so they invite you to hold affirmations and prayers of, I trust the way that life is flowing. I am perfectly safe now and always. It is safe and good for me to allow myself to release control. I don't need to know what's happening next and next and next. I am here now. It is safe for me to be here, present, right now, in the moment. And you'll start to notice that things maybe start to relax a little bit. And generally, gradually with time, it looks like you'll be able to start to shift the patterns that have extended from the emotional and mental part of you into the physical part of you, in the way that your brain patterns itself around this insomnia. So things will really change with that. The angels are also showing us, just at the physical level, this is before I even turn over the cards, that there can be some help with a little bit of a shift around hormones. They're showing us sometimes an elevated amount of, things like adrenaline and cortisol and those kinds of things in your everyday life. They're showing us that, removing or detoxing from caffeine will be important, or other things that maybe highly, highly stimulate a kind of stress response or a go energy that maybe tire out to the adrenals and that kind of thing. Instead, go for, low stimulation in your diet, and try instead choosing, kinds of foods that really, really kind of balance you out, that feel really calming. Particularly, Archangel Raphael is showing us foods that are high in minerals, like celery, for example, fruits that are high in minerals, that kind of thing. They're showing us an increase in maybe magnesium as well. So maybe taking a little bit of time to do a little bit of looking into that, because you can always support yourself at every level of being at once when you're on the healing path. You can heal yourself through physical approaches, through a mental approach, through a spiritual approach, and do that simultaneously. And then you've got this amazing multi-level approach to healing that will really, really help. Now, okay, I love this. So the first card that you have is the Navigating by the Stars card, which is really cool because it's got this beautiful, splendid picture of the stars in the sky. And right away, I'm hearing the angels say circadian rhythm. So our circadian rhythm is actually constantly speaking with the earth, but there can be little things that disrupt our own body's communication with the earth's cycles. Particularly interruptions to our electromagnetic field, or interruptions that come in and maybe throw us off by way of the kind of light spectrum that comes in. So sometimes being able to watch, for example, the sunrise and the sunset, seeing these colors actually seems like it's triggering. The angels are showing us different reactions, both physically and mentally and emotionally, that actually shift what the third eye is doing. Shift what the pineal gland is doing, which will help you to get into a rhythm with the earth. So when it's nighttime, let it be dark. Let yourself see the stars. Maybe have lower light. The angels are also saying if you can wear blue light blockers when you're looking at screens, that feels like it will also be very, very helpful for lessening any hyperactivity that might be moving around in the brain as a stress response with all the light and the stimulation that we just get at a sensory level all the time with the screens that we're exposed to and that kind of thing. And then again, just get into a kind of natural rhythm and natural pace. That feels like it's a really, really holistic, beautiful way of helping yourself, to heal. Then, okay, I love this. Okay, so you've got the staying focused card. This card essentially is just telling you to stay the course because this may take some time. So healing from something like this is usually not something that happens, boom, overnight, and then, like a light switch, we're done with it. We practice supporting ourselves with a healing path like this regularly over time, and that's what usually brings us the great, effects. So that would be wonderful. Let's go ahead and see where the angels would like to take us next. We'll do maybe one that we can get quickly. Okay, let's go to Amber's question. Amber says, I'd love to hear any guidance from my angels about my next steps towards my soul's chosen purpose. Thank you, Amber. Okay, first thing I'm hearing your angels say is divine timing. They want you to know that everything is being held in perfect divine timing, and one of the most important things you'll need to remember as you start taking action steps towards your purpose is to not push yourself, not to force or rush, too much, and to think, okay, I've got to see results right away. Because sometimes when we get into that, it kind of results driven instead of enjoying the journey driven perception of our path, we can derail ourselves a little bit. So be patient and loving and kind and trust divine timing. And let's turn over some cards as well and see where we go. Oh my gosh, this is so cool. What a synchronicity. The first card is choosing your path. Choosing your path. Beautiful. So the angels are saying right away for you that your choices are going to be so important for this. They want to remind you of the truth that for all of us, we have a destiny in terms of the kinds of things that our soul, wants to do with our purpose. But that destiny isn't the whole package. Our free will choice, our action steps, and what we achieve through our efforts and choices, that matters too. That's the other part of all of this. So remember that your choices are important. Your choices are everything, and you've got incredible power right here in your hands right now. And every choice is beautiful and important. Your next card is the Vast Vistas card. Love it. So this is a card that's all about expanding your horizons or expanding your perception. This shows that there's going to be a path of some learning that feels like it's coming up as you take steps on this path going ahead. So know that whatever activity you find yourself engaging in, it might have some wonderful opportunities to help you to learn a little bit more about your particular calling. So if you feel guided towards anything that would expand your education, your knowledge, your experience, that would get you to connect with other human beings and to develop experience there, go ahead and start practicing that. That learning feels just so amazing for directing where you're headed next. Oh, beautiful. And then the final card, I feel like we're coming full circle, is the Journey by Moonlight card, which is a card that essentially represents believing in magic and believing in divine timing, because the moon is always something that it's occurring and it's this really natural rhythmic timing, right? It's like the harmonious timing and rhythm of the universe. So it says again, okay, yes, you've got these human action steps, these important choices to make and everything. But remember too, you're balancing out with the energy of divine timing and the fact that there is a universe out there that's responding to everything that you're doing, and that it's coming to you as you're going to it. So believe in that magic, believe in the timing of all of it, and always be in a relationship, getting feedback from the outer world, from the experiences that you have on this path for your life purpose. Thank you so much. Thank you so much to everybody who submitted your questions today too. I'm sending you all so much love. We are now at the end of our time together. I want to thank all of you so much as always for joining me. Be sure to tune in again right here on bringmetolife.com next week on Thursday, April 23rd at 12:30 p.m. Eastern for Angel Hour, where I will be sharing a full hour of angel readings. So come on back with your questions then. I'll also be back again next month for a new live episode of Through the Eyes of the Angels on Thursday, May 21st at 12:30 p.m. Eastern as usual. Also, do keep in touch. I love hearing from all of you guys on YouTube, in the comments, on Facebook, on Instagram, where you can always reach me at Sarah Hall 444. So it's just my name 444, and you can search that to find me. And if you'd like to receive an angel healing session from me personally, or would like to take one of my online channeled angel courses, all of which right now, by the way, are 60% off enrollment, you can visit my website at sarahhall.com. All of my love to you, and have a beautiful rest of your day. Bye.